So going into initial reactions, Ricky Flex, this is a movie that we've had a lot of unsuccessful reboots of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, calling out Michael Bay a little bit there. We're now going into the animated realm with a movie from Evan Goldberg, Seth Rogen, notably the writers of Superbad. They're going to animated realm, and Nickelodeon movie. It was so weird going to see this by myself and like seeing these kids around me. Then like Nickelodeon like logo pops on the screen, and it's just like this movie can't be good. There's no way this movie can be good. Like there's never been a Nickelodeon movie that came out aside from the SpongeBob SquarePants movie that I would walked away saying that was amazing, right? But this was up there. I just want to get your initial reactions. What do you think of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem?
Yeah, like the marketing for this movie when it first came out before the trailer, it was like I'm not a Ninja Turtles guy. The animation, it's clearly like Spider-Verse inspiration a little bit with the 2D, 3D mix, and that comic book feel, right? And like I think overall before the trailer, I was like, I don't know, but you got Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg and Point Grey on this, and Jeff Rowe, like Mitchell versus the Machines, which was nominated for an Oscar. So like, you have a bunch of the right people, it's gonna be good. It was just like, will it be impactful to someone that isn't necessarily a Ninja Turtles fan like myself? And it was a great movie. It was a great just movie in general. Yes, it looked awesome, but it also just had really human themes that you could connect to. And I think overall the voice performances were fantastic, and it just really hit home.
Yeah, I think it hit home as well. I think like the themes are really obvious to understand for like a kid that's watching it, but it also had a lot of aspects of the movie that played to people that are our age and even older, people that grew up playing with the Ninja Turtles. Like it was blasting you with like 90s nostalgia throughout, but also mixed in like pop culture references from very recent memory. Right, whether it be like Avengers Endgame being called out in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but also you'll get like a No Diggity like needle drop that had features some kick-ass like action animated sequences. Like I think it was a good movie for like everyone, and that is sometimes the tough balance. Like where you think of Super Mario Brothers and the critics are analyzing it like, yeah, this is mainly for kids, like this is not for adults, and therefore it leads to more of a controversial Rotten Tomato score. And here it's like this feels like anyone could watch it. I am not a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan, just like you said and proclaimed that you're not. However, like I'm interested in seeing a sequel to this movie now. Like I want to learn more about this franchise, and especially with the teaser that they have at the end, it's a little bit MCU-esque. If I have to criticize the movie a little bit, but I didn't find many flaws in this movie. It was a nice energy boost, and the animation is so exciting, and there's clear influences from like across and into the Spider-Verse from this film. But the animation was unique. It wasn't identical, but it still had that exciting energy to it for like another major IP franchise. You know what I'm saying?
Totally agree. Completely agree. And again, like I never did not liked Ninja Turtles. I just want to be clear. I just again never jumped on the wave. Uh, and I think another thing here is that this podcast, I don't think we'll be talking about any hidden Easter eggs or any like things that like a Ninja Turtle fan would be like would love to hear. So like, sorry, just gonna if you're a Ninja Turtle fan and you're listening to this, sorry, but I guess there were a lot of like Easter eggs and things like that that connected to the Ninja Turtles 30 years ago that were in this movie too. So like from a fan appreciation standpoint, this movie held up on that end as well. It seems like.
Oh, 100%. I think I can't wait for like a new Rockstars video that gives a little background and goes through like what's on the blueprints in the background, what is in Master Splinter's like his bedroom or things like that, what's on the pizza. Like we're not going to those nitty gritty details. You can find that elsewhere. But if you just enjoy this golden age of animated movies that we're like embracing right now, like I think you're going to love this review and this movie. Ricky Flex, are we in kind of a golden age of animated movies? Because we see Pixar going by the wayside.
Yeah,
Elemental doesn't do as well critically or financially. It's kind of like picked up a little bit of momentum since its release. I think it debuted at Cannes, right? Didn't Elemental debut at Cannes? Is that
it
right?
did.
And it didn't do too hot there. It kind of makes sense with the critics that are there. But I was just thinking about this, Ricky Flex. As Pixar has subsided, I think it's opened up a window of opportunity for new types of animation. Like Pixar was like the bully in animation for so long. and I don't mean that in a negative connotation, but like they kind of like dominated that entire sphere. But over the last decade, we've had a lot more uniquely animated movies that's basic and that had success, that said you don't have to be Pixar to be good at animation, to sell tickets and to make a quality movie. Like when you think of like Lego Movie, how unique that movie looked compared to what Pixar and Disney had done before. You think of what Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse has done. You think about Mitchell versus the Machines that Netflix has done, and then you also have Klaus from Netflix. I just think of like the way that, and Pinocchio with Guillermo del Toro being on board with this new wave of animation. I think that we are seeing this transition from Disney to all these other studios, and they see the potential of it. It makes Guillermo del Toro probably pretty fucking proud.
There's a bigger acceptance of animation in cinema these days, just like Guillermo del
Yeah.
Toro would say. So I think you're right to an extent where, yes, this is the most opportunities, the biggest animation's ever been, and it will continue to expand once we get better technology and as you get into more diverse, creative, visually compelling story arcs, like we get in this movie mixed in with that visual aesthetic like this movie had, like Spider-Verse has, and then they keep drawing inspiration from each other and keep creating new visual styles that keep making us as an audience member like, wow, like that's new, that's fresh, that's creative. So yes, I agree with you on that point, but like I won't call it the height. I just because like you're the biggest best animator is on a downfall right now or a downslope, and that's Pixar. So like
Yep.
you're not gonna get the best of the best. Spider-Verse excluded. Like I think Pixar just in their prime is just something that I don't know if we'll ever see again.
The way I look at Pixar, I almost view them similar to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where it's like they dominate this sphere for so long, but when they start to dwindle, there breathes a new opportunity. So it's like when Marvel, when their product is not as good as these last couple of years have been since Endgame, I think it opens up an avenue for new type of movies to hit the big screen, right? They're open to, like studios are open to taking like riskier opportunities on the screen, but also audiences are willing to watch different things because this isn't working for them. If Pixar's not working for them, maybe their kids aren't liking Pixar. If you're a parent, maybe you open up new opportunities for them. And also, these animated movies, they're garnering talent. It's crazy when I was watching the post credits for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. The like you have Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, the guys who did Superbad, arguably the funniest movie ever made, that are writing a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated movie. That's nuts. And not only that, who's doing the music for this? Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. And you're like, these are the guys who did the music for the Social Network, and they're doing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think this also like lends back to what Del Toro's talking about. Like, hey, we got to take animation more seriously. And I think it's starting to bleed through. And I think that you see it in animated movies now and people that want to be a part of it, even actors that want to voice certain roles. These casts of these movies are incredible. Like into like Across the Spider-Verse, you're getting Daniel Kaluuya playing a supporting role. Like what the hell? And then like you're going to get like with this movie, just an array, and like we're gonna go through the performances later on, like people like Paul Rudd, John Cena, Rose Byrne, right, Seth Rogen himself, right, like Jackie Chan. They're fun movies and people want to be a part of them. I just sense a little bit of transition from Pixar right now.
Yeah, I completely agree. And like you are right, the voice performances were great. And it's easy and like I think again with the greater acceptance, people are more willing to be voice actors. And also because they do it for a day and they're done and then make a big paycheck at the end of the day and a year later, like easy work for them. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's also why people are realizing, oh, we can get big stars to join. But again, like sometimes in animation, the voice actor sometimes overshadows the movie. Here, I didn't think so.
Yeah.
I thought the voice acting was actually really good. Like I like Ice Cube's character. I thought yes, that's Ice Cube, but it worked. Like that was Ice Cube, but it definitely worked for that type of character, that villain. I would say Ayo Edebiri was perfect. You know, she basically was the bear Sydney in this.
Exactly. Just imagine the same exact character.
So it was perfect there. Like Paul Rudd, I knew that like halfway through the movie, I was like, crap, that's Paul Rudd. But like at the same time, I was like, this is my favorite voice performance out of all of them. Like I think there were none of them none of their star power or celebrity status overpowered the voice performance, which is hard to do, especially for a kid friendly script.
Yeah, I agree with that. This is a point where I was watching. I'm like, as movie podcasters, we're always thinking like, who's in this movie? We know it's a huge cast, but we don't know who's playing what. I kind of liked like not knowing much about this world and not saying, oh, this person's this big of a star, therefore probably playing this character, or like rather playing this tertiary character with like historically a supporting actor in their career. When I watch it, I'm like, I don't know who's playing it, and I don't care. The only one that to me, because like sometimes animated movies, they go out of their way to like let you know who the voice is. The only person I felt that with was both Ice Cube and Paul Rudd. But Ice Cube's a villain, right? That's where he's Superfly. So it's like you're gonna sense it. And Ice Cube's basically channeling 21 Jump Street and putting it in more kid form.
Yes.
And I love that. It was great. And Paul Rudd, I'm okay because like who doesn't like Paul Rudd? No one doesn't like Paul Rudd. Like, give me like him being a little bit outlandish, trying to like grab a funny quip out of any type of situation. Yes, but I honestly would say Ice Cube in this movie, this is like my favorite performance, and I don't know how long from him since Boys in the Hood.
21 Jump Street. Oh,
like 21 Jump Street. That's good. But I'm just saying, like, that's where I was like, this is like you wouldn't think with this cast and the list of names, like Ice Cube's gonna be the villain here, but I'm like, damn.
Perfect.
Like I hope they find a way for him to come back in the sequel. That's what I want to see. But I thought it was good.
He was a great villain. And again, like I think a voice performance all around were great. If I had to call out one that I didn't particularly love, it was one of the smallest ones, and that was Seth Rogen's. Because it's Seth Rogen, and you're just waiting for the laugh. You're just waiting for the laugh. That's it. And similar to like when he was Donkey Kong, but in a even smaller role.
They tailored it back though. Like he didn't have many lines in this, which I liked because he wrote the movie. Like his voice, like metaphorically, metaphorically, is all over it with the script. And I wanted to go there next, and we can talk about some of the performances later. But like Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, they are low 40s right now in terms of age. They probably grew up with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I thought that you could tell that they were fans. Like, why the heck would Seth Rogen agree to write this movie unless he had passion towards it? And I think it was clear. I think he had a good understanding of the characters, right? Each of the characters I felt was distinct. They had excellent chemistry, but I think like they acted distinctly towards the characterization that they have in the previous movies, in like the TV shows, whatever it may be. They felt distinct, but also they meshed so well together. And also by the 90s pop culture references, I was just thinking to myself, like, these guys get it. And I also wanted this movie, since like the whole, like from the synopsis, it focuses on like them living down below Earth, right? Like in the sewers, and they're not exposed to life outside. I would have loved it if they were stuck in like a time capsule in the 90s, born in the 90s, came back and didn't know anything else. And so you could just have 90s pop culture galore. I get it. Like Nickelodeon would never want to do that because like it doesn't relate to kids. It only relates to people that are a little bit older than us. But I thought that would have been like a sick movie too.
So I thought about that, saying I wish this was in the 90s because it had like all the 90s nostalgia with the music and needle drops there. But you got to say, this was like perfectly like 21st century like pop culture like movie. Like they put in the pop culture references like it was nothing. Like when they were saying you got no Riz, I was just like, holy crap, that actually worked. Like usually, like
it wasn't that cringy. That's the thing, dude. They
crazy.
did use that. It was one kid, one of the turtles especially. I think it was the dude in orange.
Donatello. Oh no, Michelangelo.
Was it? No. So I guess it was the guy in purple then.
Yeah, Donatello.
Sorry, I don't know the characters as well. Thank you. You're gonna have to guide me through that.
But
yeah, not as cringy. It was actually.
It wasn't, dude. And like they're always on their phone.
That's because Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg are cool.
Yes.
It's not Jeff cool writing this movie. It can be cringy. You can get things like we saw with Shazam when he's doing the floss, right? But it's Seth Rogen knows like
family.
Seth Rogen can understand that this is going to play off well and it's going to age well. He can see in time and he's locked in and he's just a cool guy. So he gets it. That's what's so awesome about him making this movie and applying to all ages.
Yeah, dude, like just the cultural awareness was through the roof. Like you had the Riz, you had Avengers Endgame. They had Mark Ruffalo mentioned 3 times throughout about the improv of Michelangelo. You had the 3 Chris's, Chris Pine being the favorite Chris. You had BTS, and then them not knowing the words.
Yeah.
Adele and Drake reference. Like you had so much Attack on Titan. The ending of this movie was Attack on Titan, which again hit or miss for some people, but huge pop culture wise. So again, like it's just the Turtles dialogue. Everything was hitting on all cylinders when it came to pop culture, 21st century teenagers. It was amazing.
Yeah, I just felt like you could hear Seth Rogen's voice in the script, or you could just imagine him putting it down and saying, "This works, this won't." Uh, I actually think, pop culture reference wise, I think they went a little bit overload, and that's one of my me picking nits a little bit with the movie. The part where they talk about the Chris's and the three different stand-ups. Like to me, it's like, that's not funny to me. It's a little bit overload. We didn't need that. Things like whatever. But other things I thought that actually played in as a theme to the movie, or like important to the characters, I should say. When they talk about Hulk, Mark Ruffalo improvisation in Avengers Endgame, dude, I didn't know that he improvised that. That actually enlightened me. I'm like, is that even true? Like, if that's even if it's not true, I'm just like, actually, that plays amazingly towards that final speech that Leonardo gives at the end of the movie.
It works.
Yeah, it does. I think the soundtrack, going on to like other like references that are made here, the 90s, I thought they embraced it well. They mix in a couple newer age songs, but like if it's in the hands of a different writer, we might get songs, or people that are working on music that are more used to doing like popular IP fare. You might get like a bunch of TikTok songs, right?
Or you get No Sleep Till Brooklyn, which we like in Super Mario.
Right, or an overused nostalgia. But like, it was really unique to see this action sequence with No Diggity going in this action montage. And I'm like, that was my favorite scene in the movie.
That was really good.
Like when I saw that, I was like, damn, this is really working for me right now. This is something that it takes like a visionary. It's like, there's no way you think of No Diggity. You knew like Seth Rogen definitely made one of his videos of him like rolling a blunt and then like wrote that scene, you know, that's 100% what happened. But that was a great scene. I thought also the action sequences, like combining the music and animation. Jackie Chan, Master Splinter at the end was my second favorite action scene when he's going to save like the Ninja Turtles. I thought that was incredible as well. I think the animation took a lot from Spider-Verse with like the punches and like the sounds that are like, you literally see the punches on screen, not just like the punch itself, but like the consequence, the ramifications of it, where like the impact, where it'll have like a bunch of like lines squiggling through, or like a sound where it's like reverberates through visuals. Like it just, to me, it almost felt like spider sense at times that was used in Spider-Verse. That's what I was seeing with Ninja Turtles. I thought there was a clear connection, at least.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But I would say my favorite part with the animation in this was not through the action sequences, actually, like it would be for Spider-Verse. I think my favorite part is the look, how it captivated New York City. I thought it was perfect. Cool. It literally was like, oh, these are the sewers in New York City. Oh, this is night in New York City. I thought they did an amazing job getting to the nitty gritty, dirty, greasy New York City, and like even to the people, like the people around New York City.
People are mean. The people are mean. That goes exactly with the setting.
So yeah, all in all, I think that was my favorite part. Even though, like, yes, you are completely right. Those were great, but my favorite part is just how it captured New York.
Yeah, like that's what made the setting so good, with like the non-acceptance of different looking people. And you think of like, they did it well because like you think of New York City, Times Square, people dressed up in costumes and stuff, and like they're used to seeing these weird people, but will they accept them? No. That goes with like the real life New York City. Another like compliment I want to give to this movie: brisk, excellently paced, 90-minute movie, maybe even less than 90 minutes. Like I was this is how animated movies should be. They should never be over 2 hours. Like I'm like, I guess Beyond the Spider-Verse is going to be like this huge spectacle. It's culminating this larger scale story. But like, I love that this one, it got to the point, boom, 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 and then we're there. 90 minutes in and out. Kids, it felt like that's where it's also recognizing kids are seeing this movie for the majority, I would say over 50%. So they don't want to be in the theater that long. I was sitting next to these kids they were like hopping up and down. They're walking down the aisle, and they're getting a little annoying. But at the end, they're dancing at the end, and the parents are just like, phew. Like it felt like if that was like Oppenheimer, like they would have left like after when the movie was supposed to end, like the hour and a half mark. It's perfect for like that younger viewer.
It was, and the pacing was great. I'll just say my theater. I saw this Wednesday night in Dolby, a 7 o'clock show. 85 to 90% of the theater, 90% were adults, and like adults like with Ninja Turtle shirts on. One guy had a Michelangelo headband.
I,
Like,
I I had kids wearing the eye bands.
yeah, like it was also, this movie was hilarious, very funny movie. Not just with the pop
Mhm.
culture references, just like funny movie. Like it's just flat out funny.
The banter between the kids was so funny. Like
So
them,
good.
that to me, it's just like I was impressed by those child actors. If they're probably in the same room, bouncing off one another, I think it made the performances that much better.
Yeah, and overall, like that, it just helped it. The banter and the funniness also helped with the pacing and the briskiness. If you want to go back to what your word brisk, it helped with that flow. And like, again, it was just
Right.
really good. It flowed so well.
I like that. The movie did flow. I got a couple nitpicks before we get to scores, Ricky Flex, if you don't mind. Like, I think this movie overall, I had a great time watching it. Yeah, and I think seeing it with your friends, if you are in elementary school, it could be a core memory for you. Like this could be a moment like where you became a Ninja Turtle fan, and then like you can't wait for the sequel. Almost like when we were seeing superhero movies, like with each other, like our siblings and our dad, or with our friends. Like it's core memory. I think that this movie can provide that. But this is plot hole wise, there were some things that were going through my mind. First off, these pop culture references that the kids are making. If they are sheltered from the world, how do they know so much about the world above them? And you might say their phone, right? Like technology, internet. And I'm just thinking, how do they have a phone?
Well,
How
yeah,
do
they're criminals. Let's just get this out of
but
the
like
way.
how do they still
They're
have like
criminals.
internet? I just don't understand that.
They steal internet, they steal phones, they steal shoes, they steal food. Like they have Michelangelo has braces. How's
And
how's that possible? Like, you know what I mean? Like
oh, you're right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they
But no, but
you
that's
know.
stuff I'm willing to like ignore. I'm just thinking like connecting dots. I'm like, how do they
You
have
gotta
phones? How
right.
do they know about Avengers Endgame if they're not allowed to go see a movie? Like Master Splinter's not letting them see Ferris Bueller. Like, how are they getting off to see like Avengers Endgame? How do they know about that movie? Um, what?
You just brought up Ferris Bueller. That was also something that works really well. How they mixed in the live action, the
It
Ferris
didn't work for
Bueller.
Spider Verse, but it did here.
Exactly, and I was gonna freaking mention that the
Sorry.
kung fu scene, the montage there.
Yeah.
Because like that was like one thing I always thought with the Ninja Turtles is like it's kind of BS how Master Splinter, who literally is not a kung fu master, literally was a loser, and he's saying he watched all these kung fu movies and learned to be an unreal, like literally be Jackie Chan. Like that's just kind of weird. Always is weird to me how to get by that. But like they hit it so well, that montage and that like little like 5 minute origin story.
Yeah, they really summarized it well. I would say Jackie Chan, it was interesting to see him in a voice role because he's so known for his physical roles. Like seeing him do well in that realm, I'm just like, hey, that's awesome. Like,
And again, yeah,
yeah,
him being Jackie Chan didn't overshadow the role.
yes, yes, I agree. He fit well as Master Splinter. Another nitpick is like the pizzas that they get, like they steal them, and there's never like because he's a rat, right? Master Splinter, he's a rat. So I'm just thinking like the food he's getting, they're always full pizzas. They're never like half eaten. They're not out of the trash. They're just full glorious
Yeah, they're
Pizza Hut
new.
pizzas.
They
You
steal
know,
them.
but Master Splinter had like 8 of them. He just or
Yeah,
5 of them, I should say. He just put them on the table. Sorry, I'm just asking questions here. Um, yeah, my other question was like the phone bill. Like what is the phone bill? Like whatever. How are they like? How do they have contact?
they
How do they have
steal.
texting? Like yes, but that doesn't explain. Like I don't know. To me, it's just like you can't just steal a phone and be able to text off it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. Sorry, I was just those are like minor nitpicks. Did you have any other like flaws for this movie that you didn't necessarily like?
Um, God, well, this is a nitpick for sure, but I like it when it's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for a reason. But then I do like the story with all like the turtles or the mutants coming together, right? They all have the same, like they want to be accepted. They're all vulnerable. It's a good, compelling story. But end of the day, I want to see the four turtles by themselves taking on the villains. I don't want the other mutants. I don't want humans helping them out. I want to. It's like in Shazam. I just want Shazam to take down the. I don't want any help. Like it sounds so bad.
Ricky, that does sound bad. Like Shazam, like that you have a gripe there. It's an origin story, like a well-known DC hero and things like that. Here, it's like, you know what I liked? It actually reminded me of Spider-Man, like 2002 Spider-Man, with the like you're talking about taking the identity of the city, these people finally accepting them, willing to help them out. I think I actually played into
It
the
was a
story.
quick turn.
No, but like, okay, so this is another gripe of the movie. Sorry that we're kind of piling on here, but like when she just like Ao Edibiri's character,
Right.
just April just hops onto the news and then like just like redeems herself, but still, I thought that was great. Where it's like, okay, she redeems herself, but then pukes afterwards. I'm like, that's
Yes.
funny. Like that's funny. But I thought it was weird that she had access, and that's how she redeems her character. I didn't like. She's obviously not someone that you think of immediately when it comes to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie. I think they made her redemption as funny as possible, but as unrealistic as possible at the same time. But I did like the people accepting them, therefore they help these mutants. Like to me, that works.
Yeah, like the people accepting them, then they help them. April making that comeback on screen, and her story was completed there. And then the mutants or the turtles themselves, it all matched. It's just this is why it's a nitpick. It's just like it just didn't feel right because of how unrealistic. We have teenage Ninja Turtles talking and in New York, but like in this world, it was still unrealistic.
I'm willing to let things like not having a cell phone bill and uneaten pizzas. I'm willing to let them slide. I'm just saying I don't get it.
Right?
Which is fine.
I also just because I also want to say this as a because we're doing nitpicks here. A big nitpick of mine with the previous Ninja Turtle movies is that what are they called? The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They were never teenagers in the other ones. If you think back to the 2016 one, they're like grown ass men. But they're calling them Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Here they're like true teenagers, and that goes back to the pop culture references. Goes back to like they're 21st century teenager, boys on their phone. Yes, it was unreal writing on that front because these were truly teenagers. If anything, I was shocked.
To, like, fit in, like it literally was written for a teenager.
I literally, if anything, I thought, they should be in middle school, not high school. Like that's how young. Like if anything, go down in age rather than up. So again, just another shout out. Not like I know we're talking about nitpicks, but switching it over, a former nitpick of the other movies turned out to be this movie's arguably greatest strength.
Wow. Yeah, I would say so. Before we get to scores, do you want to rank the Ninja Turtles?
So rank how do you want to rank it? Like most powerful, funniest?
No, just like the best. Who are the best Ninja Turtles?
So Michelangelo has the nunchucks and he's the improv. Orange.
Just go with like the colors for me.
Okay, Michelangelo is orange.
He was my I think he was my second favorite.
So I think him and Raphael, because Raphael in the 90s movie was like kind of the protagonist there. So those are like always the two fan favorites. Raphael, red headband, he's the bigger guy. Always saying let's go get pizza. Yeah, like he had the
He's
funniest
a badass.
lines.
He was the most badass one.
Right. He's basically the Hulk of the group.
Yeah.
And then you have Leonardo as the leader. He's the blue headband, and then Donatello is the purple with the glasses.
Donatello's last, dude. Donatello sucks. Like not sucks, but like, dude,
Leonardo, I thought like because he's the buzzkill, but he's the leader, so he can't be last, but he can't be that high because Michelangelo and Raphael are so much better.
Raphael was like Iron Man, and Leonardo was Captain America. That's the way I viewed him. Like Raphael.
So I do. Leonardo is Captain America. Raphael is Hulk because he doesn't bring anything except his strength and then the odd humor. And then Iron Man would be Michelangelo, who's a fan favorite and also more useful.
I was just thinking about the dynamic between Raphael and Leonardo. Like Raphael will call Leonardo on bullshit, and he'll be like, "You're acting like a nerd right now. Like you had a good moment there, you ruined it." Like he'll call him out. That's why.
That's a good point.
My personal list, Raphael 1, Michelangelo close second. Orange guy, right? Michelangelo.
Yeah. Yes.
I loved him in this movie. Leonardo 3, and then Donatello 4.
Yeah, I think I'm the opposite. Michelangelo first, and then Raphael. But To be honest, I'm fine with either. Those are clearly like if there's tiers, they're clearly in a tier 1, and then the other two are in the bottom tier.
And there's other times where I'm just like, I love the color red, so I have to go Raphael first.
Yeah, and like like those are all kid actors, like
Yes,
amazing job.
amazing job.
Like I can't name you one of them, like one kid actor that did it. I don't think they're celebrities, but now they will
Truly
be.
teenagers too.
Yeah, like again, hard to cast kids, even in voice performances, and they nailed these. So again, like shout out to the casting, and like they actually that teenage feel here worked well.
Shout out cast, shout out kids. Ricky Flex, what score do you give the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem?
88 from Ricky Flex.
Okay.
88.
I had an 88 as well, Ricky Flex.
Wow.
We were identical on this one. Honestly, I was at an 86. And like I wrote it down at 86 before this podcast, and then like listening to us talk about it, I'm like, I don't really have many flaws. I'm just like my flaws are really nitpicky. I thought it was pretty simple for young audiences to understand. Maybe like over pop culture, like over referencing pop culture, like nostalgia and everything. But overall, like this was a good movie, bro.
I did the same thing. I wrote down 86 at the start, and I changed it to
an
an 88.
Jesus Christ! We gotta get like a tertiary guy who's just like literally goes in the opposite end of
this movie sucks. Worst thing
Yeah.
I've ever seen in my life.
Nah, no one who
down.
watches this will say that. I think it's interesting to see that Nickelodeon logo and then us just giving it 88s out of 100.